Hello and welcome back. Like, subscribe, and do all the usual stuff. I'm the host of this weird little place on the internet. All of my links and info are down below. Done with the info dropping. Let's talk about the best of this year. I always do a best and a worst video of the year, and that's a whole thing. So looking back, it's been quite fun. So mainly books, but a couple of concerts thrown in for good measure. So let's talk about them. First, I want to say John A. Douglas, The Black Crown, The Age of Adventure 1. Oh, that really struck. I was very fortunate to read the book before it came out in its sort of looser form, and then I went out and bought it on my Kindle, and I was completely blown away. He is a phenomenal writer with a genuine talent for character and world building and all the things that tick those boxes in fantasy, because fantasy can get bogged down by its own tropes, and he does use a few of the tropes, but he does them in a way that kind of changes them, flips them on their head, which I love, and I like writers that do that. It's intelligent writing, it's strong writing, there is nothing else to say there. It's a good fantasy novel, and I did talk about it on my channel. Another novel is Ryan Williamson's The Spear of Destiny. This is a novella. This is quite a short book, but oh, it packs a punch. The Widow's Son was fantastic, and this sort of novella sequel. Nothing beats a weird western with a vampire-slaying nun to make to make you sit down and read a book. It's fantastic, and he has a fantastic skill at world building and writers' voices. Like, the characters all are so distinct. And Weird West is a genre that doesn't get much love at all, to be honest with you. It was fantastic and definitely worthy of this place. I think he's a writer that has something that a lot of writers don't have. So, that unique skill there. Then I read Those We Thought We Knew by David Joy. Now, David Joy is one of my favourite writers. He has a voice unlike no other, and oh my. He is one of those writers that looks at kind of, not the underbelly, that's the wrong word, but the kind of people that don't get talked about. Kind of gothic fiction, Southern Gothic fiction set against America's South. And just, oh God, he packs a punch. You can definitely tell a David Joy novel. I really hate the phrase hicklit. I hate that, because I think it undervalues the book, but it is absolutely brilliant, and I wholeheartedly recommend anything by David Joy. I reread his novels a lot, because they have that kind of rereadability with very deep characters that's a rarity in traditionally published novels. And on the note of traditionally published, The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman. Now, she is genuinely in my top 5 writers of all time. She can craft a story, these beautiful characters, this world. She has a unique skill there, in the sense that she can genre hop from magical realism to fantasy to other things, and just kind of keep you reading. And I'm not going to give too much away about any of the novels I'm talking about. I'm just here to say, go read them for yourself. I was blown away. She's probably one of my favourite writers of female characters on screen. On book. We all know Practical Magic. That book and movie remind me so much of my mother. It's actually frightening. And I mean that in a good way. Then we jump to another independently published book, John Palladino's Blizzard's Bowl. It's a sequel to his novel. And again, great indie fantasy, I think, is just phenomenal. And there's so much great indie fantasy. Yes, you do have to wade through a lot of terrible books, but there is a lot of very good stuff, and he's definitely on that list. He has this ability to set up and give you brilliant payoffs with strong characters, and sort of the adventures that his novels take you on. His 2 novels, actually, are just amazing. And then we come through to something a little darker. Britney Spears' The Woman in Me, and I've talked in depth in 2 videos about this book, so I'm not going to go too much into detail at all with this, because I think by now we all know what it's about. I don't read celebrity biographies. This, on the other hand, I inhaled, and the audiobook is a genuine treat as well as the physical book. This is a very dark look at fame and the realities of it, and how bizarre the whole thing of being famous and in the public eye can be for many people. A look at her life through a very unfiltered, broken lens of celebrity, and I said this in a previous video, is that celebrity is, we see a very curated image. We don't see the truth, and suddenly that's been blown out the water. We're just seeing Britney. And I think this book, I feel like there was a lot more she wanted to say, but I think there's a lot of stories she'll keep to herself. Because maybe trauma, maybe anything. Just, even if you're not a Britney fan, and I'm not a Britney fan by any means, but this book, yikes. The psychology here is just amazing. And now, let's talk about... I've seen a few concerts this year, but two stick out in my head. First, I went to see Morgan Wallen at the O2. Now, he is a country artist, absolutely phenomenal, and it's very rare for country artists to play the UK. The early days of Taylor Swift's career, or Garth Brooks, or Dolly Parton. That's kind of the only country we get here. So, it's interesting. His show was phenomenal. God, that man can sing. And he really did something spectacular at the O2. And I'm not a great lover of the O2 at all. I was absolutely blown away. And I can't wait for him to come back, because he was meant to come here in 2020, but we all know what happened. Then another O2, I went to see Madonna. Now, I've seen her live a few times. I always have a weird relationship with her. I'm not a fan of her. I like the people she works with, if that makes sense. I love William Orbit, for example. I absolutely love William Orbit and Nelly Hooper and people like that. So there's a whole list of... Bjork, another one. I love Bjork. There's a whole list of people she's worked with that I genuinely like, and their production in her music is fantastic. This show was amazing and powerful, and it felt like it had something to say. It wasn't a conventional pop show. It was something far bigger than that. And I'm going to say this, it was amazing. The only thing I will say, my criticism, there was no live band, but there were live band moments, and sometimes I think something gets lost in that. But it was nice to hear songs by her that have never been done live on tour, or have been done live but on like a TV show. And it's very interesting watching someone look back on her career rather than at the here and now. It was a great show, and even if you're not a fan, we went with a group of friends and my mother, because she's a massive fan, and I was not disappointed. So it's been a brilliant year for that. There were a few other concerts I went to see. S Club 7, just to relive my childhood and teenage years briefly. That was fun. They can do it live. But overall, it's been a really... Don't judge me for the S Club 7 thing, by the way. But this year, I think, has been really strong for novels, for music, for so much, and sort of the emergence of the Iron Age, and people suddenly creating something and going out there and putting their art and work out there. I think this is fantastic. And I was like, this year just creatively has been weird. But, you know, despite my own blips, overall, I think in terms of books I've read and music I've found and people I've listened to and stuff like that, it's absolutely been blowing me away. And I'm so... I'm so weird looking back at this year. It's been phenomenal. I want to know, what was your big key points of this year? What were those moments that you loved? What did you do? What books did you read? What movies did you see? I want to know this stuff. So, tell me in the comments below. And again, Happy New Year. Have a wonderful time and enjoy. I will talk to you guys later.